I want to start this one off by saying I for one, am kind of tired of this whole, it's a fuel mileage race. You got to save all this fuel. You're not going to make it. And then the winner, not only does he make it on fuel, he does like the biggest burnout you've seen in NASCAR history, drives to victory lane, drives it back to the trailer, then actually bypasses the trailer and actually drives it back to Charlotte. Okay, obviously that last part was a bit exaggerated, but for like the fifth time in the last 2 years, we had a race finish that seemingly was coming down to fuel mileage. William Byron, who led the most laps in this race, I believe, had put himself in position to win this race, but they were very short on fuel. And then stage 3 just became a mess. Tons of cautions, tons of spins, but they weren't giant wrecks. They were just single car incidents, single car spins, 2 car spins, 3 car spins. No really major damage. I don't even think we had a DNF today, but we had like 10 cautions in stage 3, something absurd like that. Anywho, William Byron was short on fuel, seemingly. All these cautions happen, puts them within range that they can save fuel. This final green flag run, however many laps it was, they're able to make it on fuel. They were yelling at him the entire time on the radio, save fuel, you got to save more, you got to save more. Back all the way up to second place if you have to, like back it all the way down, save. And like they're screaming at him on the radio like he's going to be like a full lap or lap and a half short. And as I said, he makes it to the checkered flag and wins the race. Great job on the calculation, guys. You made it. But then he goes and does a giant burnout. And then he drives to victory lane. And Bubba Wallace last week. Joey Logano 2024 Nashville. Like, Joey Logano 2024 Las Vegas. I mean, just, do we have real fuel mileage races anymore? Yeah, William Byron picks up his second win of the year. His first since the Daytona 500, which is very surprising because he had been leading the points for basically the entire season up until a couple weeks ago when Chase Elliott, his teammate, took away the regular season points lead. Well, William Byron just took it back with this win. But Byron leads 141 laps on the day, up front most of the day. I'll say it like that because this race got extremely chaotic in stage 3. Stages 1 and 2, normal, straightforward, not much happened. I think 2 incidents, maybe SVG spun out once. Then I think there was another spin after that caution. But outside of that, just the stage cautions. Pretty simple, nothing crazy, nothing chaotic, no one out of the race. Then stage 3 starts, and it just, disaster. Just look at the caution chart. Just, what are we doing here? It was absurd. It was dumb. And as I said, like, if this was where we're losing 2 to 3 cars an incident, that probably chops the amount of cautions in half because you're running out of cars to wreck. You're running out of field to go through, so you're down 20-something cars. It's going to get a little bit more spread out, and then you factor in that some of these cars have damage. Well, that's the problem, or not problem, that sounds bad. But that's the thing, is that when it's a bunch of single car spins, 2 car spins, and they don't hit the wall, or they barely hit the wall, like, they're able to get back on track, put 4 fresh tires on it, and march back to the top 10, march back to the top 15, and get involved in something again. So, just stage 3 was a bit of a mess. I think that's an understatement. It was a bit of a mess. It was really ugly, really dumb. Just everyone driving over their own head. It was not fun to watch. Like a couple of spins, it's like, okay, guys are pushing. That's really cool. That's great. You don't want to see people get wrecked or spun out, but, it happens. But then by, like, the 5th one, you're like, okay, let's get a green flag running. Then by the 7th, you're like, I really want a green flag run. And then by the 10th spin or incident, you're like, oh, my God, this race isn't going to end until November of 2027. But they finally got it sorted out, finally got things situated. And in the process of all this, there's like 20 different strategies going on. I think NBC, which, by the way, NBC is back, they had said that there were 6 different strategies going on at once that they had counted. Hard to keep up with which one was which. I will do my best. Probably, let's be real. I'm not going to. It's difficult. Very similar to Indy last week, as I hit the wall here. Very similar to Indy last week. We had a bunch of alternate strategies. We saw a bunch of different things playing out. You kind of don't know who's going to win. But a car who was in the top 5 all day ends up winning the race. Last week it was Bubba Wallace. This week, add 1 to the 23. It was the 24 of William Byron. William Byron, as I said, has led the points for the majority of the year. They've had an awful 7 to 8 week stretch in terms of results. They've had speed. They were top 5 at the Brickyard last week. Ironically, ran out of fuel there. They were running top 5 at Michigan about a month ago. Ran out of fuel there, though they kind of knew that because they kind of had to start pushing and they never really had an opportunity to save fuel. But anywho, going back to the main topic, they've had speed, top 5 at Dover, get wrecked out late. Like, they've had top 5 speed. They've had winning speed at times. It's just they haven't put the results together. Late race shenanigans happen. They have to push when they don't want to push and they run out of fuel. Like, things have happened to them that some out of their control, some in their control. Wreck themselves at Pocono, have a mechanical failure at Chicago. Like, there's been a lot that's happened in the last 7 weeks, and they've given up this massive regular season championship lead. Well, all of a sudden, today it all comes together. They qualify up front, they start on the front row, lead 141 laps, run in the top 5 for the majority of the day, and even when they got off strategy, they got kind of back in the mid-pack, they were able to find a way back into the top 5. I feel like I'm saying the exact same thing I said last week about Bubba Wallace. Top 5 car all day. Extremely competitive right off the bat. Led all those laps in stage 1. Top 3 car, I would say, all day. I think you could argue Brad and Blaney were maybe better today. But Byron, they put themselves in position. They've been one of the best teams all season long. There's a reason they're leading the points right now. It's not going to matter here in 4 weeks when the playoffs start. But William Byron drove a fantastic race. Thought they were going to be short on fuel, but they had enough fuel to win, do a burnout, drive to victory lane, go stop at grandma's on the way home. Like, they had a lot of fuel left. So William Byron is your winner. It's his 2nd win of the year. Remember, he does not have a ton of playoff points. I think he has 6 or 7 stage wins, but compared to Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, even Christopher Bell, they don't have as many playoff points. So for them to pick up this win, for them to pick up some more stage wins and all that with only 3 races to go, it's a little bit of a big deal. But also just to win at Iowa, 2nd ever Cup race at Iowa, really big deal, really cool, really good win for William Byron. 2nd place, Chase Briscoe started on the pole, spun out a couple guys. Eric Jones, Tyler Reddick, who then spun into Christopher Bell. So Briscoe, he spun a few people out, but he led 81 laps today, had another pole to put to his name. Just, this guy is Ryan Newman all of a sudden in qualifying. And on top of that, just found his way to the front, found his way to 2nd. He was not short on fuel. They were pushing, but somehow they weren't able to close in on William Byron, who was saving fuel. Very odd, very confusing. He finished 2nd, Brad Keselowski. This is a little bit heartbreaking for Brad Keselowski. This is the best opportunity they've had to win all year, outside of maybe Atlanta. You know, they were leading on the last lap, and you can put that. But I'm saying in terms of more normal, traditional ovals, this has been their best opportunity. They lead 68 laps. They sweep the stages, put themselves in position all day long. Really felt like they executed quite well throughout the day. Just couldn't quite get there at the end of this race. As I said, Brad Keselowski looked great today. Early in this race, looked like he was going to potentially dominate this thing the same way that Ryan Blaney did last year when he led 300 and something out of 350 laps. Like, Brad Keselowski looked like he had the best car today for the majority of the race. Even when he got back in traffic, he was able to make his way up through the field. And when that last run started, when everyone knew that Byron had to save fuel, Brad got to 3rd reasonably quickly, had fresher tires, and he was only 2.4 seconds back off of the lead. And it seemed like, oh, Brad, he's going to be able to run them down. He's got to get past 2 cars, and that's difficult, but he should be able to do that. Well, he got to Briscoe, but he never had a shot at passing him, and once he did, I think he just used up all of his stuff. He knew he had to go. He knew he didn't have the time. Ultimately, it's 3rd. Now, this 16, they've been on a great stretch here over the last month or so. Remember, they were like 33rd in the points at the beginning of the season. They had an awful first quarter. Second quarter / beginning of the 3rd quarter, if we want to put it that way, they've really started to put it together. They've gotten a few top 5s. They've gotten some more top 10s. They've started to lead some laps here. I mean, they're really kind of looking like the 6th team that's consistently in the top 10 at the very least. Only problem is they got to win to make the playoffs. So 3rd place in terms of the playoffs, championship and all that, that doesn't do much for you, but it is some momentum. It is some speed. It's a good sign for this team. Ryan Blaney, once again, for the 2nd straight year, seemed to have one of the best cars at Iowa. Dominated this race last year. Today had a top 5 car all day long. Was chasing down those top 3 in the last handful of laps. Ultimately falls short. Finishes 4th. He led 29 laps in this race. Really good day for him. Ryan Preece with the top 5. We have high expectations for Ryan Preece at these short tracks. Terrible Saturday. They did not practice well. They did not qualify well. They were a lap down at some point in this race, I want to say. But finally, when that first caution fell in the middle of the pit cycle when SVG spun for the first time, that fell Ryan Preece's way. They were able to get the track position. They were able to make the calls they wanted. And at the end of this race, they end up in the top 5. 6th place. Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace was 2 laps down in this thing. He had a broken toe link. I thought they were going to finish 30-something. Somehow, someway, with all the cautions, with all the chaos, they were able to overcome said broken toe link. They were able to make some passes, get on some strategy that got them through the field, and he drives up through 6th. I saw he was 13th with about 15 to go, and I was like, how in the world did he get there? Surely he's on some strategy where they stayed out. He's going to get run over on old tires, but no, I had it the wrong way. He was actually on fresher tires or something, and he charges up to 6th. What a drive. And right after their win, I mean, that 23 team's kind of on a hot streak here. 7th place, Alex Bowman, great points day and an even greater day because we did not get a new winner. Now, of course, there could be new winners over the next 3 weeks, but every single race that happens that there's not a new winner, the more comfort Alex Bowman feels, which we'll look at in a minute when we look at the points. But top 10 for him. Carson Hocevar, top 10, great day. He enraged Zane Smith to the point that Zane Smith tried to strike back, and like the MLB Classic that was held at Bristol Motor Speedway, Zane Smith, swing and a miss. Yeah, tried to wreck him back, according to the internet. Not sure if that's true. And Hocevar did comment on it, or his 77 team did comment on it. But anywho.
He missed. All right, you don't want to worry about him now. Focus forward right here. Shoot back. 47.
Top 10 for Hocevar, Logano 9th, Austin Dillon 10th. Austin Dillon actually had top 10 speed all weekend. Really not that surprising to see him up there, especially after the speed at Richmond last year. We all remember that. Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott. Then we got the Legacy Motor Club cars of John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, Christopher Bell, AJ Allmendinger, Tyler Reddick. I mean, like, I'm naming all these guys. I could tell you which ones were in incidents and were not. If we go back to the top, 1 through 4, no on 5. 6th place, yep. 8th place, yep. Logano, I think, yep. Chastain, no. Cindric, no. Barry, yeah, I think he was. John Hunter, yep. Jones, he did a full-blown spin. Christopher Bell spun. Reddick spun in that same incident. Kyle Busch, was he? Maybe not. Okay. Anywho. Ty Gibbs, Chris Buescher was irrelevant today, which was really odd. I mean, we talked about how good Brad Keselowski is. We talked about how good Ryan Preece is at this type of track, but I don't even know if Buescher cracked the top 10 today. Really bizarre performance by that 17 team. Justin Haley, he was up in the top 10 at the beginning of this race. They qualified really well, but ultimately 23rd. Denny Hamlin, yeah, he was in an incident. He spun out at some point today. He had a really bad day. Iowa's not his place. Last year, got lapped on raw speed on like lap 30. This year, that car just was a mess. Denny Hamlin, don't think he's the biggest Iowa fan. Daniel Suarez, 25th. Cole Custer, Michael McDowell. Kyle Larson went on a full-blown radio rant. That was exciting. I guess depends on who you ask. Noah Gragson, Riley Herbst, SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen. Very odd day. He, just like Denny Hamlin, I don't think he's the biggest Iowa fan. He qualifies decent, qualifies 21st. We'll go into more depth tomorrow. I'm just doing a rapid recap here. Qualifies 21st, runs in the top 20 for stage 1. Stage 2, middle of the stage, in the middle of the pit cycle, they spin out. He spins out, no one around him, just loses the car, whatever. And he hits the wall. He had some damage, and at that point I was like, okay, he's going to finish 6 laps down, 33rd. All right, that's his day. But no, the damage was not that bad. They're able to get it back. They're able to get back on the lead lap. They only lost 1 lap. Able to rally, able to make some passes. Then when the stage 3 wreck fest starts happening, I look up and he's like 15th. And then as soon as he gets back into the top 15 for the first time, Kyle Busch dumps him. And then that was really the end of their day. So, yeah, he finishes 31st, but just a wild day for him. Cody Ware, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Todd Gilliland, Ty Dillon, Zane Smith, who is enraged at Carson Hocevar, and Joey Gase, the Iowa native. As I said, no DNFs in this race. Despite all the cautions, despite all the spins, despite all the incidents, despite me slamming my head into a wall saying, when is this race going to end? When are they going to stop wrecking each other? No DNFs. That's the most surprising part of this race. But William Byron picks up his second win of the season. Speaking of, he is indeed your regular season points leader. I know that for a fact. When we look at the points here, yeah. So we got 13 guys in with their wins and all that. Tyler Reddick, he's safe unless there's 3 new winners that are not him. Alex Bowman, if there's only 1 new winner, he's feeling decent right now. Decent. Chris Buescher does not feel good. Ryan Preece, if we don't get a bunch of new winners, which that's realistic. You know, SVG wins next week. We get a normal winner like a Denny Hamlin at Richmond, and then, you know, someone like Chase Elliott survives the carnage at Daytona. There you go. There's 3 normal winners. You know, Priest could point his way in, but as I said, we might get a new winner that blows everything up. At this point, you got to win. And then Kyle Busch onward, that's almost mathematically a must win. So, yeah. Anyways, we're knocking on the door of the playoffs. So fun. Next week, Watkins Glen, right-hander. So, Shane Van Gisbergen, congratulations in advance. But, Iowa, the Iowa Corn 350. Corn, punting, touchdowns are not allowed because you have to punt. Last year's race was really good. I have great memories of last year's race. I thought it was a fantastic race. Stage 1 was really exciting in this race. Side by side for the lead, navigating lap traffic, you know, Byron versus Keselowski, Blaney sneaking up in there. Like, that was really exciting, really fun. Stage 2, and then stage 3 was a disaster. Just the wrecks and the spins, and then the fuel mileage that's not fuel mileage. Like, I don't know. But thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow we got the Monday after. That should be a fun one. We'll talk about everything this weekend from the Iowa Corn, whatever the Saturday race was called, to the Iowa Corn 350. We'll talk about everything there. We'll do our normal stuff on that. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video or stream tomorrow.